I'm back in the same spot. I'm Kiana, and I'm just talking through my own spiritual awakening, my own beliefs in sort of new age spirituality and who we are, where we're going, what I believe. I do not know all the answers yet, but I feel like I am closer to the truth than I've ever been in my life. And I'm starting to feel very, very happy and joyous about the answers that I'm getting. I spent a lot of my life wondering why, what's the point? Why are we here? What are we doing? What is this? This is ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense. And 40 years later, I'm getting answers, and they feel correct. They feel peaceful. It's almost to the point where the peacefulness of it is unnerving. That makes it doubtful. That makes it skeptical, because like I'm not a super skeptical person. However, I am always aware of the varied feelings about things, and I try to approach things with some doubt so that I can research better. The last thing we talked about was me meeting a garage bracer who solidified for me that I am an empath. Still didn't know the word. I'm like, what, somewhere between 17, 18, 19 at that time. I still don't know the word empath. I've still never heard of it. I don't think I learned that word until I was like fucking 36, 38. I never heard of that damn word before. Anyway, now I'm going through the world feeling like I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but still not like actively doing it. Just feel like I had a solid rock from the Lord about this is true. Bouncing around a little bit, in general, one of my abilities that I believe I have is, I think it's called claircognizance. It's not clairvoyance because I can't see the future. I'm not clairsentient. Okay, somewhere between clairsentience and claircognizance confuses me. I keep mixing them up, but I think it's claircognizance. I know things. I just know them. And it's almost always around health. Yeah, I think that would be a reasonably broad term. It's almost always around health, someone else's health, sometimes my own health, but mostly other people's health. And it doesn't mean health like I can always predict that your kidneys are going to fail or something, but it means I can see that you're working too hard and something's about to happen. Or I kind of saw the apocalypse. I saw the apocalypse pandemic. I saw the pandemic. I didn't see it. I knew something specifically massive, like life-changing, was coming. This is like, the problem with it is I have no control over it, and I do not often have specifics. But I do have this knowing sometimes that something, or sometimes it's a little specific, is true, and it's coming, and it's happening, and it's going to happen, and you need to be aware of it. So my job is basically to warn people. The problem is most people don't listen. And so when the thing occurs and they're like, oh gosh, you were right. And I'm like, I know, I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, it means you listened to me and it didn't happen. That's what I want. But I'm quirky, I'm weird, I'm odd, I'm a nerd, I'm a dork, I'm an introvert. And so even though my people love me, they don't always trust me not to just be being weird. So even when I've proven myself to certain individuals for decades, they still hesitate to listen to me. And then it happens it's like this, how many times does something have to be shown to you before you believe it? So it's very frustrating. I don't have very specific examples. I told this friend multiple times, I was like, you need to stop. You are doing too much. You have to stop. You have to stop. They weren't doing crazy things, just helping family, going to work, trying to do their art. And I was like, you are doing too much. You have to sit down. And if you don't sit down, God's going to sit you down. And then, very young person had a heart attack, still alive, but very traumatic for them and for us. And I've had it. I've had these conversations over and over again. It's every tiny little thing. You have to go to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital. You need to do this, and they don't go, and then something terrible happens. And I called my family members before, like 2 months before COVID, and I said, take your kids out of school. And they were like, what? That's ridiculous. And they were like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I can see why you wouldn't listen to me if I don't know. But I was like, something is coming, something is happening, and you need to take your kids out of school. And they didn't listen to me. And you know what? I don't even think they acknowledged that I was really specifically correct about a thing. And so that bothers me, that I have this ability, and it's like I'm, what's her name? What is it? I'm getting it wrong. It's like Clarissa, some kind of mythological psychic who's cursed to know things, but also cursed to never be listened to. Very, very frustrating. Anyway, long story about that. That's one of the things I can do. I also have somewhat of a healing hand, I guess. Like if I do your hair, it's gonna grow. I'm not a hairdresser, but if I did do your hair, it would grow. I think that's just an extension of my sort of empathic healing nature to pull pain from people. Because of this, I have a very high antenna towards really negative people, and it's really hard. I don't know what it is, because like I told you, I have knowing without knowledge, I guess, is kind of how you would describe it for me, the claircognizance. Let's just say it this way. Sometimes a person can come into a room and they have this thing on them. I just call it a thing. I don't know what the thing looks like. I don't know what the thing is. I just call it a thing. I don't know if it's separate. I don't know if it's part of their personality, aura, whatever you want to call it. I can't see auras, but I can feel them. I can't tell you what color it is, but I can feel them. So maybe it is an aura thing. And I just call it a thing. And when those people have that thing on them, I try my very best not to speak to them. Like I won't even talk to them. Usually people with that thing on them don't even notice that I'm not talking to them. They don't care. They're very, very self-absorbed. They're very selfish human beings typically. Not just narcissists, because it doesn't apply to every single narcissist. It is a certain person, and I don't know. Maybe it's a demon. I don't know what the fudge the thing is, but that it comes on people with a personality that is anti-love to me, in my opinion. So I usually try not to talk to those people because I don't want their energy anywhere near me. And when they say hello, I gotta say hello, and then we cross. I don't want to share nothing. So I try not to speak to them. I'm not rude. If they speak to me, I'm going to speak. If they don't, though, then I won't, and both of us is fine to ignore each other. The worst part is when the thing is on a child. It occasionally happens that the thing is on a child, and I never liked that kid. It's not every bad kid. I've met a lot of bad kids. All bad kids don't have the thing on them, but this thing, and not even all kids with the thing are bad, but they are cruel. And the worst part is if it's on a kid you know, someone you love, a kid in the life of someone you love. I can't say anything. I can't say anything because that sounds insane. So I never mention it. I never address it. And to me, that lets me know that it's not just about personality, that it is something. I don't know. If I come up with other stuff I can do, we'll go there. I think the next step would be college. So I go to college, and I'm 17 when I go to college. And then I think I spent about 4 years, because I was supposed to go for 5 years because I changed the whole program, so it was going to be 5 years. I didn't graduate at the time, but in the midst of this, in the midst of this 17, 18-year-old, I don't want to say 17, 18, because the worst of it didn't happen probably till around 19. Like I think 20. I think I want to say 20. What I have retrospectively decided have a huge like download, like huge, massive spiritual download, awakening sort of thing. At the time, no clue what's happening, thinking I'm going crazy. I mean, it feels like I took a psychedelic, just like colors. And then no, it didn't happen in one moment. This happens probably for about a year, where colors are just crazy bright, lights are bright, like I'm having some sort of brain aneurysm or something. Colors are bright. Oh yeah, I can hear people's thoughts. Not everybody's. Typically somebody I'm with in the room, if they're thinking very loud, people I love, or maybe I've personally learned to tune it to people I care about. But at that time, it was everybody. I could hear thoughts that I knew weren't my thoughts. I could see colors that made no sense. Everything was real bright and intense, extremely loud. It was almost like my autism, my highly sensitive personality kicked up a notch. At the time, of course, I also don't know the words like autistic or highly sensitive person. I'm a Black person, grew up in the 80s and 90s. Autism was not in my community. We didn't talk about it. It wasn't even a thing to think about. Unless you very specifically had someone on the spectrum of the point where they needed help, it wasn't even a topic of conversation or like a diagnosis we knew anything about. So I'm experiencing this sensory overload, this overwhelm, this just like I took a mushroom and it lasted a year and everything got real loud. I've never taken a mushroom, guys, but I've heard what they do. So I've eaten, grocery store mushrooms, but I've never taken like a shroom to do any of those things. But it's almost like, people, I think I've never taken it myself, but that's why they do ayahuasca and stuff, right? To have literally sort of the experience I was naturally being given. And at the time, I had no clue what was happening. Thought I was losing my goddamn mind. Just overwhelmed, but trying to finish an undergraduate degree. Trying to ignore the overwhelming spiritual awakening, sensory heightening whatever going on in my body, and write this 12-page paper. So I remember one day being on the train and asking God, what do you want? What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What is that? What's going on? What am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What do you want? What's going on? Like, I mean, just in my head, just like repeating it like I was on crack. Like, just like, what do you want? What am I supposed to do? And I just like snapped my head over, and this man's reading a magazine, and the back of the magazine has a huge block title on it, and the block title says "Fight the Devil." And it was a magazine. It's like a cosmopolitan looking magazine. Like, what kind of magazine would say something like that? But anyway, I paused for a second, and in my head I had a little silence, and I'm like, okay. I don't believe in the devil. Maybe a little bit. I think I believe in God. I think I believe in there is something that we call angels that I don't know what it may realistically be. I believe there is life after death. So maybe whatever that is similar to whatever it is heaven we're trying to describe. But it's almost like I just don't believe in the devil and hell. I think they're distorted stories of something. Don't feel quite true. They feel like Santa Claus. It's a distortion of the truth. Like, so far distorted that it's a story that makes no sense. And so I don't believe in that. I see this I've learned how even then, I learned in life not to take things so literally. So I see this sign, and I know that I'm gonna take it in the vague sense of fight the devil, as in fight evil, fight bad, fight not good. So I calm down a little bit and realize I need to just like sit with what's happening with me and figure out who I am. Um, this is one of the lowest points in my life. Uh, this is the period where I have my suicide attempt, where I am absolutely depressed, where I am crying for, I'm asleep for 16 hours a day and crying for the rest. So I'm just wiped out. I did not finish school. I did lose a grandparent kind of after the depression. It looks like maybe the grandparents passing caused the depression, but that's not true. I was already on the floor. I was already on the floor in agony and tears when that grandparent moved on. And it was sudden, so there was no expectation that they would. And my coursework was not the problem. It was not too hard. It wasn't the coursework. It was whatever was going on with my brain and my body. And so that took me down pretty far. And I came home because my grandparent asked me to come home and take care of them. And as a consequence, I ended up basically being a caregiver for my elderly family members for about 20 years. I don't regret it, but it was painful and hard, and parts of me hate it. I love them. They're gone. I loved them. I love being there for them. The two exist. The two coexist. I loved being able to love them and be there for them and help them and care for them. And I also hated it. I hated it. It was painful. It was hard. It was financially, mentally, physically draining. If I died today, I could say to God or whomever I meet, I do not regret the love, the compassion, the time that I spent taking care of my family. However, I do regret giving none of that to myself. No love, time, care, compassion, care for me. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess, is what they say. A rock and a hard place. They both coexist, and it's painful that I have this anger and this pain about something I value and feel honored to have been able to do. It almost pisses me off that I hated it. I wish the love and the joy could exist by itself. Being that caregiver gives me a part of why I'm able to be so empathetic. I think it's a good place to try to talk about how I have learned. I'm like in my mid-40s now, and I've learned that all the pain and the things that I went through created me as the perfect empath. I believe that God has given me experiences that are not mine, but for me to tangentially live through so that I can be a better empath. So watching two different elderly people at different times in life over the past 20 years basically slowly die and need help and not be able to do for themselves gives me empathy. Understanding what those people are going through. I completely understand why they're so angry. The trope of the angry lady in pain makes sense. I would be angry too. You would be angry too. It's horrible to just lose your freedom, for people to start telling you what to do, when to do, how to wear it, what to eat. It's infuriating. And I get that. And it's something I've learned as a caregiver, and I think it makes me a better caregiver and a better empathetic person. And I'm not a caregiver traditionally. I'm not in the healthcare system. I'm literally a family member who's just there every day. And I've been able to learn from that experience and see it in other people and use it in my profession as a designer. I'm an interior designer. and I go into people's homes and I see those family dynamics. I see places where people should probably implement things to make sure their life is easy, comfortable, smooth. And so it has helped me tremendously in feeling for people, understanding their mental state, and helping them create an environment that is safe for them now and in the future. Um, so I think the next thing that I want to talk about is sort of my own journey of health and other people's problems that have helped me to be a better empathetic person. So I'm going to make a different video for that.